Good Tuesday morning, Mount Olive Church family and friends. I hope everybody's had a great long 4th of July weekend. Back to work today. Everybody's uh, got their bellies full from hamburgers, hot dogs, and cooking out and time with family. So hope everybody had a great and blessed weekend. We're going to continue on with our devotions this week. And Pastor start a new series. My screen pulled up here. Pastor started a new series this past Sunday that the Lord has given him, Living by Faith, and he talks about faith tested. And he used the scripture in Habakkuk chapter 1, and I'm not gonna go there to that scripture. I'm going to use two others that he used in the message Sunday. But you see, I have stepping up on my screen here, and that's the point I want to talk about. So he talked in this series, and we see to start off here in Habakkuk, and I didn't put those scriptures up just for time's sake, but we know that Habakkuk, he goes to God, and he's praying and he's crying out to God, and he's saying this is going on, that's going on. He's talking about all the bad things that he sees happening, from all the violence to bad judgment of the law and everything that's going on. And he says, oh Lord, how long am I going to cry to you? You're not hearing my prayer. When you move on through that, TJ talked about times of discouragement, was the very first point he brought out. And then I want to talk about the application in that point, because this was really something I thought that stuck out to me. And he broke away from Habakkuk, and he used this scripture because he was talking about living by faith, and hence the title of the series. And in Romans 1:17, it says, "For therein is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith." If you were with us Sunday morning, or you got to watch the message, you'll know that TJ used that point. He come down on the bottom of the steps there at the altar, and as he talked about moments in our life, a moment of faith to a moment of faith, whether we've been, say, 5 years or 50 years, every moment of faith, we step up, and he used that. And every time that God moves or does something and grows us in our faith, and how we step up from that. And he used this, that, God reveals, and you see, I've got it highlighted there, from faith to faith. So keep stepping up from moment of faith to moment of faith. Then he went to this scripture, Hebrews 10:38. Now the just shall live by faith. And he compared that to Romans, talking about the same type of scripture, living by faith. And it says the same thing here in Hebrews 10:38. It says, now the just shall live by faith. But then it does this. It talked about the other one, said they go from faith to faith, moment of faith to moment of faith, and stepping up. But he also compared it to this, and he said, but if any man draw back, if any man steps away, my soul shall have no pleasure in them. And then he talked about these three ways that we can respond. With three ways. When we're in times of discouragement, there is no doubt you will respond one of three ways. There's three ways to respond, and one, we're going to step back. When we feel like we're discouraged and God's not answering our prayer, we begin to step back. And we're not sold out to everything. He even mentioned that with our church, and how that can affect Mount Olive Church. There's others that'll completely step away, that are no longer there, that completely step themselves out of the situation, and they maybe turn their back on God. And then the third one, which is what we talked about doing, is stepping up. To step up. That's why I titled mine what I did, to step up. Two other things that I wrote down here, you can see I've got on my screen. I hope you caught in the entry to the message, I guess, the kind of the background. Pastor was talking about the kings, and he was talking about the Civil War, and he even throwed out that revival had swept through, and then it kind of faded away. Hope you can remember that. But he talked about a civil war and a spiritual decline. A spiritual decline had went away here, had taken place, and it was starting to fade away within this country. He also made one other point. I didn't put it on the screen here, but it just now come back to me. He actually said, somewhere during that message, right around that time, he said, pay attention, leaders, listen up. There was a spiritual decline among their leadership. That's so important for us today. It's so important for you. Maybe if you're watching this devotion or listening and you're at home, riding down your road in your car, whatever it is, maybe you're not in a leadership position in the church, so to speak, but what about in your home? What about in your family? Don't let a spiritual decline come in, because it will cause others to step back, to step away. And I wrote this point down because it really hit my mind yesterday Sunday after I left church, that talked about going through the motions. It seems like sometimes when we're just going through the motions, we're going to church because we think we're supposed to, because everybody else is looking. We're going through the motions of reading our Bible. We're going through the motions of our prayer life. It seems like when we do those, I'm gonna give you a warning here. Heed to this. When we going through the motions, it's a lot easier to step back. It's a lot easier to step away than it is to step up in moment of faith to moment of faith. So I hope that gives you something to hold on to today. Don't let your church leadership, don't let your home leadership, don't let that end up in a place of spiritual decline. Be the leader. Step up from moment of faith to moment of faith. Love you guys. I hope you have a great week. Remember to pray for me. And as always, I'll be praying for you.